Thanks, Lee. Hey everyone, welcome to today's development call. So this is July 29th and Wednesday. So this is probably the last development call of this month. So I guess we will be covering lots of things. So yeah, everybody welcome to this call. It's very happy to see lots of recurring faces, and I guess we have a couple of newcomers also. So yeah, about this call. So this is the weekly Meshery development call, and this is a call where we talk everything about Meshery. So all of the things that are in progress, and also we plan about new things that we are going to implement, and basically discuss everything around the project. And before we jump into today's agenda items, let's see if there's anybody new to the call so we can get an introduction and see where you are from and what you are interested in. So just a second, let me see if I can find a new guy. This Earth, you might be new. Yeah, actually, yeah, I think I have forgot a bit of like who was on the last call. So yeah, if you are new, please don't feel shy. Open up your mic and let's get introduced. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is that point in the call where it's really difficult. It takes a huge leap of faith by anybody that's new here to speak up and to say hi. It's so challenging. But actually, I'm just looking at your list, Abid, and all the names that I see right now, except for, and I hate to do it because it's such a hard thing, but for Daksh, have you said
Yeah.
hi before on this call? Because this is our chance to get to know you and to welcome you. Do you want
Yes,
to?
Lee, I have said hi also, and I have asked a query as well
Nice.
on this channel, but not with you actually. You are not in that meeting. In the last meeting, you were not there, and I have some queries. I also cleared them out.
It's my loss. Okay.
No, like the last Wednesday.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so
Yeah.
Daksh, yeah, and Daksh, by the way, if you toss your last name into the Zoom participants list, it'll help a bit.
Okay, okay, I'll do that.
That's great. Good to have you, Mr. Yadav. Right, Yadav. And then Abid, I don't know, Soham, have we gotten a chance to say hi to you just yet? To hear from you? It's good of you to
Yes,
be
I
on.
already
Oh, you did?
introduced previously.
Last week?
Uh,
That man. All the
yes,
cool people showed up last week. I wasn't here. Okay. All right.
not a last week, a fire ago.
Yeah, I guess that's nice. So you're recurring here. Okay, like if you're like if I miss somebody or like if we miss somebody, please like you can also say hi in the chat box so we can get into. So this helps like knowing you and that what in which area you might be willing to contribute. So it breaks the ice for you. Also, then you can get started early on, other than like hiding behind. So that becomes very hard. So yeah, like if you don't have a working microphone or some other issue, yeah, please feel free to say hi in chat also. So somebody would welcome you there too and get to know you. Okay. Yes, that's it for it then. So let me get back to the today's agenda item. So I guess like before jumping into the agenda items, there is a couple of announcements. So I guess one of the bigger announcement that everybody might be awaiting is like new LFX internships will be launching. So the next season would be starting from I think from September, but the internship will be live shortly. So I guess there are 5 new internships coming up. Just let me pull up the link for it. So yeah, there is just this open issue that we have with the CNCF file. We are listing the internship. So these are not live yet, but you can take a look here and see what we are going to be implementing and doing this season. So these are like 5 internships created. I guess Mia and James is not on the call, I guess. Let me check. I don't see Mia and James here. But yeah, there is 5 new internships. So okay, I guess most of these are related to AI, but all of them are not. So actually, I guess these couple of these some people had already incurred inside Slack, so it's right time to take a look directly inside the proposals and see what we are going to implement. And so how we do internships here at Layerfy and Meshery, sorry, is a bit different. So we won't be looking at your resumes and everything. So it's just like you have to get started. You have to start contributing in the community. If you're already contributing to project, that helps us know that you are capable of doing something. So yeah, rather than focusing on like doing a resume or you're writing a cover letter, just get started, get your hands dirty with the project, and that will help us know if you are suitable for a particular set of internships from here. So yeah, there are like 5 different ones in AI, and so we are going to basically enhance the AI capabilities that Meshy has. So one thing is we are going to implement an MCP server for Meshy. Then there's also we want people to bring their own models to Meshy and basically leverage their models with the existing capabilities that Meshy provides. Then there is also we want to make Meshy CTL, which is the command line CLI for Meshy, to make it agent aware, so it becomes very easier to integrate with agents, and so agents can orchestrate using Meshy CTL. And then there is also adding AI support for the registry. I'm just like giving you a summary of these ones. That Mia and James and Lee have written in depth the descriptions and other things about the project. So please take a look here and see if you are capable of doing something, or if you are willing to do, or if you are interested in here. And it's like if you are interested, then it makes it easier rather than just picking a random project from here. Just take a one that you are already capable with. If you are capable with TypeScript or capable with UI or Golang, take a suitable project by that. Lee, would you mind like maybe talking a bit more about any of these?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as a matter of fact, a lot of these fit well under the roadmap topic a little bit later. And so maybe we'll speak to some of the roadmap in context of AI. And yeah, actually each of these 4 are AI centric. So we'll talk about them later, but there's one other. Oh, there's only 4 listed here, and some random person in the chat was asking, where's the 5th? And the 5th one is linked right at the bottom. The 5th one is a never-ending bucket of internships through LFX anyway. Meshery runs its own LFX program, and internships are perpetually available. We hand them out just as soon as anyone here that wants one demonstrates that they're ready for one. And I mean immediately, just as soon as. Or they get offered an internship through one of the other programs that the community participates in. There's a number of GSOC interns on the call right now. And there are a couple of other programs. Anyway, the point is we perpetually have more work to be done and projects to do than folks available. So anyway, just a quick word. By the way, Kusham Bansal, he's on the call, and Lennox are 2 individuals just come to mind. I see their video. Have a public chat with either of the 2 of them on tips and tricks to come get an internship if that's what you want. And they can tell you maybe they can tell you that's not what you want, or that is what you want, or be ready, but they're both living it and doing it, and they're both being successful. So, well, cool. Well,
Thanks, Lee.
yeah.
I guess we can then jump straight into this open item. So yeah, I guess Linux is on the call. Please can share.
Yeah, coming. Give me 1 second. Okay, cool. So, this is in regards to. I actually didn't think the issue. Well, anyways, so for a little bit of context, over in Meshery.io, this is where we publish all of the designs that we have in Meshery and the filters. This has been managed through Jekyll, So there is currently a problem. These fields are being populated, but the ones over at filters are not being populated at all. And that is because currently we utilize GitHub Action in order to consistently fill these items, I guess. So here it is, the schedule for it. So we set up Go, call in for package.go, and then the files get replaced, and it gets replaced, and then PR gets open and it gets merged, and that's pretty much how it's populated. But the thing with package.go is that it's currently only doing the ones over at catalog, and these catalogs are the items which are being stored so they can be downloaded. So it creates two different folders, I guess. One for catalog.
Lennox, let me interrupt, man. Did you walk through the code and prove this out? I don't, unless my memory is off, that's the Golang program that we have. That's for purposes of integrating with Artifact Hub.
Yeah, this is, so I fixed up the catalog by messing with this code over here from before, because over here it's let me show you. Here it is. So
let me stop you short, actually, because Meshery doesn't support WASM filters as a project any longer. They've been deprecated, and so we can actually hide this tab.
Okay.
That'll just save us some time.
Okay. I'll just eliminate it then.
Nice. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you see
No
where it
problem.
says Artifact Hub package and the package.go?
Yeah.
And so you're
I guess, yeah, I think that makes sense, because otherwise, like, because we now have filters in Meshery.io, but no longer in Meshery, it would just confuse users more if they try to find it and just make it worse.
I'll go ahead and just delete it then.
Yeah. You can just, like, in the UI, maybe just hide the tab, and that should do it for now. So you don't need to, like, remove much else. Just kind of hide the tab in UI.
All right, I'll go ahead and do that then.
Yeah. I guess nice. Do you have anything else?
Oh, not for my part, I guess.
Thanks. Then I guess the next one is Lee again. So yeah, I guess we have the incubation process going on. Would you like to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. Hey, yeah. And by the way, Lennox, I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier. I should have mentioned it when I was offering feedback on the idea that code you're looking at is Artifact Hub centric. And so I think what you're saying, though, is that code is helping produce the download artifact.
It's doing that one and also the formatter, both of them.
Huh. My memory fails me. So in the update catalog workflow, it invokes the Golang program?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. So then, yeah, then my memory is wrong. Well, great. Okay. So thanks, Lennox. Hey, on that next topic, just briefly, the next topic is about the fact that Meshery is in process of being reviewed for transition from sandbox maturity level to incubation maturity level within the CNCF. And so hopefully everybody's familiar with those three levels. Anyway, it's just a quick update to say that, let me share here. A quick update to say that, well, Meshery's been under review in queue for review for 2.5 years, for a while, for a long time, entirely too long. And Well, we're trying to do what we can to help get it out of review. The good news is that there have been additional steps taken to process its review. So diligence performed in terms of having adopter interviews. And maybe there's been more, but to my knowledge, there's been 3 adopter interviews thus far, which is great.
Yeah.
And so I think that's about all that I can definitively say. That's as far as Meshery is along. We still have our fingers crossed that Meshery might be into that next maturity level before or well in advance of the upcoming KubeCon. It'd be great to be able to have the project participate at that level during the next event.
Is it like in November?
It is. It is, and the planning happen, or the agenda gets set, and the rooms get reserved, and the well in advance. As a matter of fact, here in just a couple of weeks, I think the agenda will be finalized. So, yeah. So if you don't have at least 2 fingers crossed, um, please do. You can like cross your toes. I think that counts. Little flanges. So, yeah.
Is
So
the
then-
DigitalOcean interview done?
Not to my knowledge. So yeah, that was, at least I'd heard from Narcy that he had scheduled an interview, that it wasn't held. And I'm assuming that was just like those that were participating having differently, I don't know, traveling out of country, and the meeting not happening. I did for Karina's part. Karina is the, oh man, what's the right? She is the, well, she is the TOC sponsor for Meshery. She is the point person on helping ensure that Meshery's incubation gets completed, or its review gets completed. And so I had popped over an inquiry late last week just to check to see if there's anything that we can be working on and doing to make, as a project, to help make sure that we've got all of our I's dotted and T's crossed. She had suggested that we have a meeting after this KubeCon Japan. I think that's just ending today, I think. And so,
Yeah, and yeah.
so I'm assuming that might not happen until next week, just based on travel, but I'll try for this week though, just to see if.
Yeah. I haven't talked to Narsi about that. That's why I asked. And I also have one common question, I guess. I haven't able to find on the online, but how many interviews do they actually need to consider, okay, they have
Yeah.
enough interviews?
There's a range. I think it used to say 2 to 4 or something like that. I think the range right now says 3 to 5, just as general guidance for all projects that might submit. And so, which makes some sense. I think it sort of, there's like, it's good to have a few in queue in case a couple of them drop out, or a few in queue in case 1 or 2 of them don't have a lot to say, and for Meshery's part, since it's such a massive project, having a higher number in there is helpful for different adopters to speak to different aspects of how they're using the tool. So 3 to 5 is, I think, what is. And so there's a sheet that that I can share that has a list of each of the adopters and the point person, and just how far along that process is. As a matter of fact, I'll grab it and send it. Because there's more than that. Yeah, part of our challenge right now is some of our former adopters aren't active at the moment. And so helping try to ensure that their use is considered is a point of discussion, or it's an open request from the project to CNCF staff that they consider it. Yeah, it's a big deal. So anyway, lots of time given to helping try to ensure. Cool. All right. Hey, next topic up is, well, hopefully from
Chaitanya.
Chaitanya. Yeah, and maybe even Hush a bit.
Yeah, I'm here.
So speaking of adopters and contributors, Yash, thanks for donating a bit of cluster time for Meshery to do some tests on Docs, the Kubernetes DigitalOcean's Kubernetes service. This is great.
Yeah, Petrol, I saw the message that Chaitanya sent it. I just didn't see a PR that he fixed it. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, if you could just, I have also requested for your review. I couldn't find Nurse's profile, so yeah, it would be a lot helpful. So speaking of clusters, I was testing using the clusters on DigitalOcean. So as for the state transitions, I believe that the not found state is probably a state that we uh, is being generally denoted to that cluster when the server is processing the config file. So I believe keeping this state here is doesn't add much meaning here.
Yeah, so like right now, how the connection process works, like not found is like when you try to register a connection and it's like mesh is not able to reach out to the Kubernetes API server, it registers it as an in not found state. So that's how that state is used right now. But yeah, like from connected, you usually want manually go to not found. You would probably just disconnect it or something. But like it's like kind of like also with how mesh does it, it would automatically transition your cluster your
Yeah,
connection from like connected to whatever it is to not found if it's not able to connect it whenever you spin up mesh or if you refresh your even if you refresh your screen, because at that time we also kind of like reconnect with the connections in the background, so or kind of resync, so it would again transition back to not found. But yeah, it's like when it's mesh is not able to reach out to the API server.
yeah. I also had reported that I was getting this ghost records. I believe we had resolved this. Although I need to since I'm running this on local provider, maybe this could be an issue from my end. So I
Yeah,
need
I
to
guess
check
like
these out.
this was yeah, I think this was fixed for the remote provider because, like, yeah, this happens when basically it's like during update operation when you try to update the states or something. It's basically it doesn't respect the existing record and ends up creating a new one. But it also like updates the existing one, so there's a bit of buggy logic there. So yeah, I guess might not be fixed for local provider at the time.
Yeah. Um. Then, speaking of multi-clusters, Yash had provided a config file, and I myself had one cluster, so I just consolidated them both, and the I'm able to make a successful connection to both of them.
Hmm.
However, I do get this notification, be it even a single cluster, so I am looking into this. Then for the dashboard, I believe Kusham is working on updating the icons.
Okay, yes, that's a long shot.
No, I wasn't working on that. But yeah, I've raised a PR for fixing the widget layout
Okay,
on
like
the
I
icons.
think if the issue is still open, somebody else can then work on it because it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, okay. Um,
Yes, you might share the issue in Slack or maybe later on in the chat, so somebody might pick it up.
yeah, okay. Additionally, could I point out one more thing? In the events, we have this the ability to share and spread word on Meshery, but I believe uh, this ability to for any of the events there doesn't add much meaning, and I believe that this should be
Thanks. Okay, what else?
eradicated. And then
Yeah, I guess like there are a couple of questions regarding the connection process from Yash. You take a look.
Yeah,
Chat.
so I was just trying to get myself around that. Like, are you were working on fixing them or you were working on testing them uh, so that I can ask the right question?
Hmm.
for DigitalOcean.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I tested out the out of cluster connections, and
Yeah, that I got it. I just want to know, like, you were trying to fix them or you were trying to do the testing as well? Like, what you were trying to do? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
i- if you would see for the documentation, I was just adding some points that should be considered for the users to go through the proper flow in order to assist them
Do you have
in
new
the
section on docs then?
uh, I believe we already have the
Okay, yeah,
documentation
nice.
for that. So if you would see for the firewall, we only have inbound rules, and so this was incomplete, and then we also need an authentication here. So these are some of the minor tweaks that I have done for the improving the documentation for DigitalOcean.
Okay, thank you. I think I'm not sure if you have the doc I shared with, I think, with everyone, where I was talking about was what was the issue. I think that will give you much more better idea what's what I think we were talking about. I already
Yeah.
put down in a written, like, what was the issue with DigitalOcean Kubernetes cluster. So there
Hmm.
was one more thing that I just want to ask. I don't know if that's like the common thing. Like, I just saw that you have two clusters, one in SFO, one in New York. I created a cluster only in SFO. So is it because
Yeah,
the cluster
so
has two nodes?
uh, this is my cluster.
This is your cluster. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Actually, yeah,
Thanks.
yeah,
Yeah.
regarding the dog that you shared. So I think it was shared a couple of weeks ago, maybe more. So yeah, I think since then, like there were some fixes on some of the issues that you had notified there, and so there were a couple of releases made. So yeah, Chetan, if you go through that doc and see all of the issues that were listed there, if we still are having those issues, and also go through both remote and local products, so we'd know like
Yeah,
which one has the issue actually. So go through both local and remote product and see if we are still facing any of the issues that Yash had mentioned there, or also from your own test process if you found any new issues, and use that doc as the source of truth for that.
yeah,
And you can tag Yash also there so he can review it. And also for the documentation, Yash might give it a look to see if that's how ideally DigitalOcean wants to configure their clusters or use their clusters.
yeah. I went through the docs that Yash had, and I didn't find any recurring issues that Yash had mentioned there. Uh, I'll give it one more look.
Yeah, yeah. Just also give test through both local and remote, but so it's
Yeah,
easier
yeah.
to point it out. Okay, yeah, nice. Then thanks, Chaitanya. I guess the next one is Zair Hamid. Zair, are you ready to share?
Yeah, I'm ready to share. Just okay. Can you see it?
Yeah, you don't need to ask that.
Yeah,
Actually, your
yeah.
screen is
That
not
was the same
visible
thing
right
last
now.
time. It was there. Remember? So, yep.
Yeah,
Go ahead
okay,
and present, man.
okay, okay. So, it
UI is
was
not
actually
actually
the
visible now. Your screen is not still blank. Yeah, now it's okay. Start.
okay. So actually, the main issue was it was opened by Ryan, which was actually when we run in make server command. So it shows that it tried to reach the open telemetry
Yeah,
endpoint 127.0.40
yeah,
something, right? So the main issue was it shouldn't until we configure it. So this was one issue, and it was not explicitly mentioned in Helm charts. So when I tried to reproduce the error, so I saw that it was already solved. I think it was done by you through main file.
yeah.
Uh, So when I ran like, let me show you. So I also made a demo, uh, attached the demo, live demo. Let me show you. Okay. So this one was the first. Okay, so yeah, this was when I ran with only make server command. So it shows that in
Hmm.
line that you can see tracing is already
It's,
disabled,
yeah.
so it doesn't try to reach it explicitly. So another issue which I saw, that if there is no, let's say, configured with Jaga or open telemetry, so what it does, it sends continuously logs. Let me show you.
We
For
were on
example,
this. You demoed that last time I was there. We know about that. That's what's in the issue. So what do you have to show that's new this time?
okay, so what I did is said, let's say, for example, this in this demo I show you that what I made the changes, which was correct one. So what I did is, if it will only log once it, let's say, it's getting to start
Good,
connect,
great.
it's
Uzair,
only
thank
one
you.
failure.
Uzair, thanks, man. That's all that we need. Like I was trying to kind of convey this before. Like, yep, that's it. We just need a flag to be able to turn it off, turn it on. And right now there isn't, right? Or we just need behavior to be like, if one is not configured, stop trying to collect from it.
Okay, I did the changes. I was just last time also you told me to, if you can present a demo with agar configuration, so that was just
That's
trying to.
wonderful. Good. Now that you've done that diligence, assuming that that is true, we don't need to see it. But it's the right exercise for you to go through, for you to have done it.
Okay.
Good.
So okay, these are the, so these are, I think, two file changes and two file changes I needed. One was to explicitly tell in that if it's configured empty,
Yeah.
so do not try to configure it. And also in tracing file, here explicitly I mentioned that if it's null, and don't try to configure it. If it's checkpoints, then do it. Also I mentioned, also I which I added, that if it's empty, then it's not an error. Let's say if by default
Yeah.
you are not configuring it, configuration tracing, it's not an error. It's
Yeah.
not an error until you configure it. Also what I did was, one thing which I think was good as from a user perspective, that let's say if you are not configuring, let's say if you are configured to one point, some endpoint, but your UI is not open, agar, for example. So what it does, you when you does UI click, every time it starts sending logs, failure logs. So what I did, it will only log once until your connection is failure. If it's live, it will not send failure logs. It will only send log once, that your connection is refused because the connection is not up. The other UI is not up. So that's the two
Actually,
changes
like
I
with
made.
that, actually, let's not talk much about that, because like it would just complicate this PR and it won't never get merged like that, because we are mixing different things. So like with the thing, just like making it an opt-in to enable open tele, that's good. We can merge that part, and anything else we can move that to a separate PR, so that can get reviewed separately, and it won't break anything. But yeah, that's good if you are putting some thought into it. But yeah, just separate it into a separate PR and keep the actual one just simple, while we are just checking if the hotel is configured, then we enable it, otherwise we don't. And that should be it. So it should be one single check. And also the template thing with the Helm chart, that's also good, so it's configured with Helm chart. But yeah, other than that, don't do much in that PR. But yeah, thanks for putting in thought, but you can do that in a separate PR.
Okay, one more thing. Can you
uh,
tell me who can I reach, so for review and for reviews, and who can help me with this if I have
Yeah,
an
so
issue.
the review process just for like all other contributors is simple. Like as you make a PR, you can tag one of the maintainers in that PR, so they will come up and at that time and review it. Then also for ongoing discussions, Slack is a good place. So, but just don't annoy the maintainers. You can like start if there's like something that needs to be discussed, you can start a thread on Slack, and maintainers and other people will jump into there and help you with that. But yeah, Slack and also the GitHub is good place to discuss and get reviewed, and maintainers occasionally come and do that. Like every day we merge hundreds of PRs.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That-
thanks Uzair. I guess then Kusham, you are next. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. So my PR was about the dashboard layout that that Krishna is working on. So it needs a component I discussed earlier, bottom sheet. So Lee requested some of the changes in it. Like we need a matching UI for that matches the bottom sheet UI with the UI we have with in Meshery. So I made all those changes and it has been also reviewed. So we need to merge it as it needs to be used in dashboard layout and also many other places. So yeah, so I need a review on this. I mean a review or a merge. It's ready to be merged. Yeah.
Okay, so this is pre for the PR in Mesh, right?
No, it's insistent.
Like, is there a PR in Mesh that is using this now?
No, we need to use it. Otherwise, we need to work it on migration again. Like it needs
No,
to
I
be
mean, like, do you
implemented.
have a PR right now up for this with migrating to use this in Mesh? Because you can just locally, you don't need to release system to work on it. You can link to system locally and start working on it. You don't need a release upfront.
Yeah,
So you know if it works everything properly.
yeah. Krishna is working on that PR
Okay, Krishna is
related.
working. So yeah, please like see if everything is working fine. Then we can merge it. Did you guys like discuss about it together?
Actually,
Yeah,
I
we discussed that.
tested it locally. It is working from my side.
Okay, like with this one, just also one more thing with the this component that you created, make check in Meshy like but I think we already had a couple of places a similar component for filters, like the bottom sheet that comes up from bottom. So yeah, just see
No,
if it can be used there.
yeah, yeah. I checked that, but it was just uh, it was just sticking to the to the bottom margin. It
Mm.
was not a component implemented there.
So just like then migrate that one to use this one. So we should just have one implementation, whether this one or the one that we had, just have one. If this one is better,
Yeah,
use this one
yeah.
there also.
This one is better, and we need to migrate
Yeah,
that. That's what
yeah, then
I
yeah,
discussed.
yeah, that
Yeah,
should be, because otherwise we would have three different implementation and we'll forget we have a fourth one, and then everything gets bad. So yeah, like get a PR for that also, then we can merge these together.
all right. I'll raise a PR for
Yeah,
that too. All
yeah,
right.
nice. So yeah, it's just so we don't have more tech debt.
All
Do you
right.
have anything else to share?
No, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Next one is Krishna. So yeah, Krishna, you can share now.
Yes. So giving some context about my PR is it introduce a three reusable components in from these is system to the both of the our consumers. So I have an open challenge to discuss regarding the edit mode and saving the layout. Currently, when you rearrange the widget and hit save, the grid doesn't always retain the exact visual placement that you saved. It seemed to be snap or recalculated because of the widget picker popping out on the left. So I'm thinking of that rearrange, take out of the edit button and place aside to the edit button, so it improve our UX on the both of our consumer.
No, just if
Any
I'm getting
thought?
it right, so even like when we save the layout, it's not always the same that we edited, but when we save
Yes.
it, it renders a bit differently, right?
There's after my PR is get merged.
Yeah.
Actually, currently in Meshery, it is aligned differently. In cloud, it is aligned differently.
So do we have this issue
Is it?
right now in Meshery also?
No, in Meshery it doesn't.
No, then
After
like then it should be just some issue with the migration or the logic. But like if it's working right now in Meshery, then it should keep working after you migrate it to Assistant.
okay,
Unless you did some layout change, then you can see then the issues from those changes, and you can kind of start from there fixing it.
no, actually it's upcoming
Okay.
after the migration
Yeah,
in the
then you
Meshery
can just
specifically.
change. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, just see like what
Okay.
you changed inside after migrating and start from there to locate the bug.
Hmm.
Other than that, do you have anything else then?
No.
Okay. So the next one is Parth. Parth, are you ready to share?
Yep, I'm just sharing in a second. Just a second. So I was working on an issue. The issue was just a second. The issue was basically right now there is no support in Meshery to delete the models of a particular registrant uh, in bulk, at once. So we had to do it one by one. Like if we want to delete any model, like all the models for a particular registrant, we had to do it one by one. So that is not, I guess, uh, right. Uh,
Yeah.
so in this PR, I added a one CLI subcommand and a one server. I made changes in the server code, and it adds a new route that basically a new handler that allows the delete all models in one go.
I will like
So
for adding this new API endpoint, did you start from schemas or did you directly add inside Meshery?
actually, no, I did not add from
Yeah,
in
so
the
please
schemas,
go
I
through
guess.
the documentation for how we are maintaining. So you need to all of the changes need to go through schemas first. And each new endpoint, each new model, whether it's created, needs to go through schema. So go through the documentation. I think there is part in Meshery and also in schemas repo. So Meshery/schema. So go through there and you would understand how the process goes through. So basically everything we are doing schema driven development. So first we define the schema, then we generate the constructs from that, and then we start using them in Meshery and all of our consumers. So yeah, start from there. And other than that, the other thing that I might give you quickly is that for the actual logic for this, we shouldn't be needing any more logic. But if you add a new handler, it should basically just call the existing delete subroutine, like the while we are doing the model delete. So don't add much logic around there. So it should be just a simple wrapper for that. But yeah, go through the schemas documentation for the other that's required.
So I'll look into it and I'll see what can be done and I'll
Yeah,
ask for
yeah. Start
help.
from there. Start from
Yeah,
schemas. And yeah, that's
sure.
kind of general recommendation for everybody that wants to work on actually both. If we wants to work on server or on UI, we do everything from schemas first. So if you're defining a new component, then that happens from system. If you're defining a new construct or new API route or new handler, that happens from schemas. So yeah, that's generally how the process goes on for both UI and server. Thanks, Path. So I guess next, okay, it's me. So yeah, actually, let me try to demo a new kind of feature and enhancements around Meshery. So just again, if I get everything up and running, yeah. So the issue is mostly was around live terminal sessions and logging session support for Meshery. So actually, Meshery has had a bit of support already for both terminal sessions and logging sessions in the past, but it was actually behind GraphQL and also was not properly surfaced to the UI. So there was a bit of backend support. So in this PR, I'm just kind of enhancing that and refactoring that. So my first part was majorly that in the last actually for the last month we are trying to get rid of GraphQL, and it was one of the major dependencies. So for these terminal sessions we were requiring GraphQL for the live WebSocket connection. So for the GraphQL subscriptions, but now we are getting rid of that, and now these are just pure Golang WebSocket connections that we are using for the terminal sessions and logging sessions. And we also migrated most of the other functionality that the real-time functionality that Meshery was using for, like Meshery was relying on graphical for to WebSockets and server-side events, so SSC and WebSockets. So the events that you see now are happening through SSC, and most of the other actually real-time communication happens through SSC, and couple of places are using WebSockets. So it's the collaboration endpoints use WebSockets, and now these terminal sessions use WebSockets because this is duplex connection. So you also send back information to server, and server sends back to you. So we need WebSockets for this one. So that's kind of the main motivation for this migration. So actually, like once if we merge this PR, we'll actually be able to completely get rid of GraphQL, and can basically get rid of it from our dependency. So there won't be no more dependency on GraphQL. So that's the main goal. So apart from that, we had kind of like one of our extensions was doing this terminal session. So if you have used Canvas, you might be already have taken advantage of doing live terminal sessions and logging. But now, because we have implemented it directly inside Meshery, the extensions can also utilize it, and you can basically utilize it directly from Meshery, and it becomes kind of global. So you have a seamless experience. So as you would open your terminal sessions and your logging sessions, you can basically jump around in Meshery without losing them, and you can go to your extensions and can also you see your current sessions from there. So right now this is surfaced in couple of places. One of this is in your dashboard. So as you go to your Meshery dashboard, you can see the
Yeah, sorry for disturbing. Are you sharing your screen?
Sorry, I think I was not.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm now live. So yeah, if you jump to your Meshery dashboard, so this is directly on your Meshery homepage, and you go to a particular resource that supports terminal session, because all the resources don't support terminal session. So like inside Kubernetes, if you go to a container or a pod or a deployment, they do, because they deployments and pods and other things, they contain containers, and containers support logging and terminal session. So if I go to this pod here, if you see on the top, there are two new buttons there. So one is opening a terminal and another is open a log view. So you can basically, if you click on this one, you would start seeing the console session at the bottom. I think I already created this one. Actually, yeah, this is a logging session for this code DNS, and you can, so this is basically just a live tail of the logs, and you can basically search it and do other things with it also. So from here you can search it, and you can basically expand it if you want a full screen view of your logs or of your terminal session. And then you can do some small things like you can pause the streaming, you can stop the streaming, and you can also change the window through which you want to tail the logs, and you can also just kind of refresh it. So actually this is basically not refreshing, this is doing the logs on the previous container. So if the container had crashed, you can do the logs on the previous instance to see why that container had crashed, and then this is just showing the timestamps alongside the log. So you can now see the timestamp. So everything is happening through the WebSocket connection that's directly done with Meshery now, rather than through GraphQL. And so this is the logging, and similar you can also do terminal session. Let's hope this works. Yeah. So this is the, so you can open basically directly a runtime shell towards your inside your container, and then you can start executing on it. So this sometimes doesn't work on particular shells, but every container doesn't support it. But actually, if I go to a particular one, like I think Mesh Sync might support it. I think there is some issue with these. This is an old, this is stale instance, so this can't be connected to. But yeah, actually, I think there might be some bug or some issue with these containers. I'm not able to open a terminal session, but basically it's just you would get a native Unix shell on that container, and then you can basically execute anything that you could on that container. So, and the thing is now you can basically, you are not limited to just one instance or one container or one port. This comes at the bottom, and you can see there are multiple tabs, and all of these are open at once, and you can basically jump between different containers and different ports, just basically view their logs or their terminal sessions. So the terminal sessions and the logging sessions are put together inside this panel, so you can basically jump between them, and you can also minimize this. As you would minimize this panel, it would minimize to your left navigation bar, and you can see here it will show number of sessions and this console icon, so you can again pop it up, and then you can also minimize, so you can continue working on Meshery if I have to do something. And then you can also kind of detach the session, so it becomes a floating window that you can move around. So you can, it comes up like this, a small floating window, and then you can also resize the window to your liking if you want to put it somewhere. And so this kind of how the UI works right now. So this again attaches it to the bottom, so this sticks back to the bottom, and the whole session is kind of persisted throughout your session of your Meshery. So as you would move around Meshery, you won't lose your session, so you can kind of do different things in Meshery. You can go to a particular extension and work there also, and you can keep your current logging terminals and terminal sessions intact, and you can work on them together. So this is mostly how it works right now. Any particular questions?
Nobody has feedback. Surprised. I know Sangram, I know you've got a couple of questions on this. I will ask just a few.
Not really.
Oh, really? Okay. Then I will put some words in.
Sure.
I'll put some words in Sangram's mouth. So when you detach the console, that setting also persists across page reloads and
Yeah.
nice. And actually, I guess I should ask, literally a page reload?
No, actually not like a actual hard refresh, but just like if you're internally navigating. So if I do a hard refresh, yeah, this would be lost, but we're not persisting it. But yeah, throughout the navigation. Because like either way, when you refresh it, like the connections are broken. But yeah, we could implement if that's needed.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if you think about it, views, some Meshery designs and Meshery views, it's possible that a view could potentially contain a particular terminal configuration, such that if you call up the view, you're always wanting to look at the logs over here, filtered on this, and the logs on this one, filtered on that. And then it can kind of be a matter of convenience that, especially if you are a matter of convenience, you can just pull up that view because you're looking at that app. And when you look at that app or that workload, you want to look there, there, and there.
Yeah.
And when you do that, if you are sharing it, collaborating with someone else, that then part of the shared view includes a shared terminal. And so that shared terminal concept sort of brings up a couple. So by the way, no one else is saying it, but just it's fantastic. It's fantastic work. Like it's it is awesome, man. Wow. Okay, good. Now that I've said that, I'll have get some other questions or some other, which is yeah. So the duplexity of the thing is absolutely necessary in order for someone to have an interactive session. Otherwise, they'd just be doing log streaming the whole time, and that's something that might be lost on people, or easily lost, is that there's log streaming here as well as interactive terminal. Some fancy whiz bangs, maybe, in terms of the logging are things like, does it have, is the default just a live tail?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's by default it's like 500 last 500 lines, but yeah, it's default live tailing. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that becomes evident when you look at the buttons and the streaming, the pause and yeah. And you've got the date. If there's a date range to it, wonderful. I realize, I think it's important for us to acknowledge that, and maybe for you to confirm that the following is true, because I think that you've brought forth one or two new constructs, schema-based constructs here, which is the right way to do it. The logs themselves, and this is probably an important clarification for Sangram and for others to think on a bit in terms of how important something like this might be. I suspect like it's pretty easy to say, yeah, it's important, but which is the all of the data that we're looking at here between the fact that there are two independent sessions, one on the one
One
on
is a live terminal one, and one is the logging one. Yeah.
yeah. That to the extent that those are denoted with a small icon or something, just to be, to help.
Yeah, I guess yeah, the icons are a bit broken. Yeah, so there would be an
Oh,
terminal icon and one logging icon. Yeah.
that's great. That in the logs, the data, so that data, high level of like which deployments, containers, and pods and that you're connected to, and whether you're interactively connected or you're streaming logs standard out, is structured data, or the system itself is aware of those facts.
Yeah.
The data that is not yet structured is the
logs themselves.
yeah. Yeah. And then if you expand that to the interactive commands being sent back and forth, that you could imagine if you kept building on the concept of a view, or of just like you build on the concept of a performance chart, or a dashboard page that has a couple of widgets that show you different charts with different metrics. When you capture what those metrics should be and which ones to collect, you start to get fairly specific inside of each chart. We'll show these two metrics for this time period, and over here, yeah, as we go to expound on what the definition of a terminal is, or a panel, that you might be able to the extent that it's, again, sort of helpful, that you might be able to save particular, like, I don't know, I don't necessarily encourage us to go off the deep end on this, because the reality is the reason that people use something like this is because it's right at hand and super convenient and can facilitate over HTTPS something that they might have to have different access to otherwise. And so that's one reason why they might find themselves actually using this rather than their terminal, which is so much more powerful. And if they're really into their terminal, they've got all kinds of things configured. And that when I was going to say to go off the deep end would be to structure the logs that are coming through, the data that's coming through, such that we can apply a date range, such that we can
the advanced filtering on that, right?
Yep. Yeah. And that, yeah, if you were able to capture those details in the definition of a filter, just like in a design, in the definition of a filter. Anyway, food for thought. Or yeah, there might be some other simple client side tricks that are easy enough to get to, that it's a little bit of change of color just to, some other, but not that any of that, actually, some of that might be exactly the wrong thing for me to suggest, because it just adds more code, potentially more bugs, more like something that Sangram has long been an advocate of is something that's really similar to what's happening here right now. And that is that you're in your operational mode. You're looking at your clusters, you're looking at your workloads. You need to reach out and touch them. In this case, we're focused on container-based thing, deployments, pods, basically the containers. But and in one of Sangram's use cases is to focus on more or less the same thing, but from the service side, is to say like, hey, if this thing is hosting an HTTP service, I don't know, then can that be exposed and can that be shown, and what are those? And I know that's right at hand. I'm not sure why I brought that up right now.
That would complete. That would complete, Canvas to to an extent that you can start putting it into. When I say production, I don't mean it in the typical sense, but yeah, at some point, people who want to access the applications, even something that can dynamically generate a subdomain to begin with would kind of do the trick. As long as Meshery is deployed, there's already a domain or subdomain it can be just another subdomain, subdomain of it. So that we don't have to worry about allocating a lot of IPs. It's easy if it's a managed platform. It's not if it is a self-managed platform, and allocating IPs could be a bit of a challenge. But yeah,
Like functionally
I
complete.
didn't rush for any opinion because I've been out of touch with the whole interface and operations for over 2 weeks now. So, the objective with the last call and this call was more or less to catch up on what's been happening. And I don't want to rush with opinions and feedback because I don't know what's happened, but I'll catch up on the interface and, come back with anything. Thanks.
This is the first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, this is the first time you're showing this on the call, right, Abid?
Yeah.
Okay, and first time I've seen it for sure as well. So yeah. So I mean, but a couple of people pointed out that I wasn't here last week, and so yeah. Great. There's this monospacing challenge I think that we have with the text.
Yeah, I think this might be coming up with extra something. Yeah, the font is not rendering properly. I think I had fixed this with maybe it's using some wrong system font for me. But yeah, I will take a look at this. Yeah, I'm aware of this, and it makes it pretty hard to work.
There's a couple of other things that there's like, well, from my limited vantage point, I know that we're over time and we're not going to be able to get to the roadmap stuff we were going to talk about, but just to try to tie this off. And anybody that's on the call, please correct me or add to it or question it. But I was trying to articulate quickly the reasons why someone might actually use this versus just their terminal. One was like, one is most likely just the convenience of the thing. Like if they just need a web browser, okay, good. That might be enough. But another reason might be to the extent that there's real-time collaboration that's facilitated, that this isn't the only way that you could potentially, or that you can definitely share. Actually, yeah, you can definitely share a log stream. Now, granted, you can sign in, multiple people can sign into a system, have logs streamed through their terminal, but those are independent views. Now, they're going to be the same, but they're independent. To the extent that you want to be looking at the same filter and searching for the same thing and seeing the same thing, that isn't facilitated otherwise. Moreover, if you wanted to have a shared interactive terminal, where sometimes one person is typing, the other one sometimes it needs to jump in. Those things are possible here. Right now, this is just a single user tool. Okay.
Yeah, those make sense. So it would become kind of a more collaborative. So yeah, especially with if we tie everything with the views and the wave filters, then then it makes more sense. So people can kind of like you said, so we can these would become persistent, and then people would pull up their views and they would see their sessions, and other people can also collaborate on them and see what's happening. Yeah, like I think even with just the filter, sorry, with the logging itself, if everyone is kind of on the same page there, that helps. But yeah, that also makes sense. And just like small. Yeah, please go ahead.
I was going to repeat myself. Actually, there's one thing to call out to Sangram, or that when he has a moment's rest, like if he were to look through this, one of the things that I think he'd ask is from a security-centric perspective of a way to say, how many holes are you poking, and how much do I need to open this up, and how is this, how are we, where, and so just very briefly, so that Sangram, you might think about this a little bit more and whether or not it's ideal, is that the architecture and the here and the flow of data is, in order for this functionality to work, you need to have installed the Meshery operator. And so the operator comes with two controllers, mesh sync, sure. It also comes with just a NATS server. Yeah. It's the NATS server that broker, that public-facing service that you already know, that gets exposed, and that's where mesh sync info comes from, just the stream of updates of all the changes in the cluster. And it's that same service, that same NATS server, that all the log stream and the interactive messages or transit. Now, actually, I should ask this aloud. So that makes sense to me intuitively from the perspective of outbound traffic, to Meshery server. But the inbound, the interactive commands that are sent, do you recall, Abid, off the top of your head, the flow of that?
Actually, I think like there are a couple of things. So like with the previous implementation, like I think everything was going through MeshSync and through the Nets broker. So yeah, the log streaming was happening through the Nets broker, and also like with the interactive session, it was kind of an mix. So like we were having some code natively inside the GraphQL handler, so they were doing a bit of like creating the sessions. And also I think for the interactive sessions, I think probably Nats broker was not used, but yeah, for the logging sessions, I'm sure like it was used. But actually, like for my implementation right now, it's kind of like the point of connection is actually directly with Meshy. So right now we are not going through MeshSync and basically for through the Meshery broker. So kind of two things. I was not sure like if we want to continue that, because it might be helpful, easier for some people to do it this way, and also just for like development purpose, because like it's hard to kind of keep the Meshery operator sync in locally when you're developing. So I did this. Most of the code is done locally right now, but yeah, previously yeah, it was through NAT. So the logging was done through NAT. So Meshery would send a message to the NATS broker, and it would start the log stream internally, and then stream back the results to the mesh, and it will basically show it through the user through the GraphQL channel. But yeah, that's how it was done previously.
I think in most of the deployments, many of these components remain within the cluster or within a limited number of hosts, so they can still be secured from the security group perspective at the platform layer, like let's say AWS or OCI or anything for that matter. I think the inbound and outbound can still be restricted to the specific IPs in question for that Kubernetes cluster or Docker host, whatever that might be. That should secure it, unless we have separate machines and you have the operator running somewhere else and other components running elsewhere, and there's no private communication between them. That's rarely the case, but yeah, I think in that case we'll have to. I mean, as long as we are not opening up a lot of ports, I think but I'll try to look
Yeah,
into
that makes sense. Because like either way, right now, like because we are just using the Cube API 7 needs to be exposed to, so for Meshy to directly communicate with it. Yeah, unless it's kind of like in cluster, then it doesn't matter because Mesh is also there. But actually,
doesn't
I
matter.
think we
Yeah.
might
Yes.
discuss about a bit more like from this perspective, so we can get this right. But yeah, right now, how I done it's like directly in server.
Yeah, this has come up in the past as well. I think this responsibility, the platform level security is always on the customer, right? So we cannot just address every permutation and combination of how the networking or the private connection, would happen. But sure, our documentation can have some examples around it. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Abid, thanks so much for
Yeah.
yeah. Well, great. Hey, we're about 10 minutes over, and looks like it's an interesting topic to most folks. So good. Hey, that's an open pull request for those of you that want to dig through it, poke at it, help point out flaws if you can. Please do. With that, did anyone have any urgent items that we missed? Some of you might have agenda items that we didn't get to. please go ahead and, as soon as the call is over, go queue those up for next week so we can have them at the top of the list. With that, I guess I'll just help facilitate. Abid, thanks a bunch for hosting as well. And it's a pretty fantastic piece of functionality. Sangro might have to give you a kiss. Just watch out. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you back in Slack. See you on the newcomers call, and we'll chat AI next time.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye. See you guys. Bye.